yeah!
Today we're going to talk about a game that's less of a game that you play and more of a game that you experience, with a world that'll really mess with your brain and probably make you question your own life choices. Today, we're going to talk about Antichamber. Antichamber is a puzzle platform game based around the concept of impossible objects and Escher-esque ideas and design. Things that simply couldn't exist in a normal 3D environment. I have stared into the abyss, and the abyss stared back at me. Because of how far it takes us, it really messes with your brain at times, and it's that brain messing upness that really gives this game its identity. Another thing that really sets this game apart from other puzzle platformers out there is that Antichamber is very open, and there are dozens of different paths to take throughout the game. There are entire sectors of the map that some players may end up missing altogether, while some players may find themselves lost and constantly ending up back in those very same areas. And because of this non-linearity, it's a little tricky to talk about because my experiences through the game may vastly differ from those of someone else. Antichamber tells a story in a rather unconventional way. The only dialogue is between these signs that you find in the real world and your own thoughts. The signs constantly draw parallels to real life and offer some real-world advice, and while it's mostly pretty obvious stuff, sometimes it just takes a video game telling you that stuff to truly realize it. Shortly into your adventure, you might happen across this large black blob floating around, and not once is it mentioned in-game what this thing is. Some players might want to go chase after it, some players might back off and watch from a distance, some players, like myself, might just stare at it going, "What the hell?" And before long, you may happen to find the exit, before realizing that it isn't actually the exit. Some people might end up mad or upset that they've been tricked by the game and feel really cheated about this, but I actually really like this part. I thought I found the end and opened the door, read the sign, and just sort of sat there for a second. Not only is the statement true, but the game would kinda suck if that was the entire game. So, in the end, I'm glad that isn't the end. I really feel like I went off script there, and it really sucked. A couple puzzles later, we find a blue matter gun, which introduces us to Antichamber's primary game mechanic: picking up and moving blocks to solve complex puzzles. As you progress through the game, finishing puzzles and exploring Antichamber's quite expansive map, you'll find upgrades to your matter gun, and I'll try to keep that a secret for you. Though, I guess I can't really help but use certain footage clips which may or may not contain said upgrades, but shh, it's okay. Throughout your adventures, you may come across various secret rooms, like dev rooms, which show off lots of really cool behind-the-scenes things, like how various room puzzles were done, concept art, and whatever this is. There are also some hidden pink cubes for you to find, some of which are very well hidden. From this point, there are tons of ways to go, and it's at this point that I find it very hard to talk about because of that. There is a general progression from Mattergun to Mattergun, but how you get to each Mattergun and the puzzles you find along the way is largely up to which way you go. And while I can talk about the early game and end game in at least some detail, it's very difficult to talk about the mid game because of how non-linear it is, and I just feel like I'm saying the same sentence over and over, so I'm just gonna get to the end game now, sorry. Early in, you may have come across this and tried to go through it, only to realize you can't. But once you get a certain Mattergun, you can go through this gate of sorts and access the real exit. Remember that black blob from earlier? He's here, and he's floating away. And once that music starts, you know what you have to do. It's time to use everything that we've learned throughout this entire game to solve these last few puzzles and chase after that blob and figure out what the hell it's about. After a long, dramatic hallway, he's right there, mere feet from us, taunting us. We have one final puzzle, and part of the puzzle is getting the cubes to use for the puzzle, but it's certainly nothing we can't handle. Might take a while, but we can succeed. Yay. Well, this is it. This is the black blob. We have the black blob. Everything we know and love has now been sucked into our little gun. And the only way forward is this really long bridge as we take our final cube to its destination. Or you could just hop onto the rail and drop down, that works too. The dome opens up, and I guess the only thing left is to put the black cube in the cube thingy, and, well, I'll just let this play out. And no, it's not my recording that cut out. It's not YouTube that cut that out. The game actually closed itself. I could go into length about what fans think the ending means, what I think the ending means, but I think it'd be better for you to play the game yourself and interpret how you think it means after experiencing the game in full. And that's just a small part of why I really love Antichamber. It does a great job at just grabbing you and pulling you right into this world, and solving all of those puzzles all on your own are incredibly satisfying. And one final thing to know about Antichamber is that about Antichamber is... Hey, stop that. Hey, no. What are you doing? Stop that. Hey, no. No. Stop that. Get out of here. No. Stop it. No. No. Hi. Meow. Come say hi. No? Alright, bye.